Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Trending Update USA, and I'm Steffan. Thank you so much for joining me as we dive straight into one of the most exciting days of the Australian Open so far. Day 4 on the women's side promises drama, power, emotion, and the kind of tennis that reminds us why Melbourne always feels like the true beginning of a new tennis year. The courts are heating up, the pressure is rising, and for many of the top players, this is the moment where the tournament starts to feel real. Every match now carries weight, every point feels heavier, and every decision can define a season. Today we're focusing on the biggest women's matchups of Australian Open Day 4, including a fascinating clash featuring one of the sport's brightest young stars, Coco Gauff, as she takes on the dangerous and unpredictable Olga Danilovic. As the second round unfolds, storylines are already forming across the draw. Some favorites are beginning to look dominant, others are showing early signs of vulnerability, and a few underdogs are daring to believe that this could be their moment. Melbourne Park has always been a place where confidence can explode overnight, and where doubts can creep in just as quickly. The physical demands of playing in Australian summer conditions are relentless, and mental strength is often the real separator between those who survive and those who fall short. On Day 4, we see that battle in full display, especially among players who know they have the talent, but are still chasing consistency on the biggest stages. Coco Gauff enters Day 4 with the spotlight firmly on her shoulders, and by now, she's used to it. Still just in her early 20s, Gauff has already experienced the highs of Grand Slam success and the lows of painful lessons learned in front of a global audience. What makes her presence so compelling is not just her athletic ability, but the way she continues to evolve as a player and as a competitor. She no longer feels like the teenage prodigy surprising the tennis world. Instead, she arrives as a serious contender, someone opponents must prepare for carefully, because her game has layers now. Her serve has improved, her forehand carries more intent, and her movement remains among the best in the sport. Most importantly, her belief seems deeper and more grounded. Facing her across the net is Olga Danilovic, a player who doesn't always get the headlines but has quietly built a reputation as someone capable of disrupting rhythm and punishing hesitation. Denilovic is left-handed, which immediately changes the geometry of rallies and forces adjustments that many players struggle with, especially early in a match. Her heavy topspin forehand can jump awkwardly off the court, and when she's confident, she's willing to step inside the baseline and take risks. That willingness can be both her greatest weapon and her biggest weakness. Against someone like Gauff, timing and shot selection will be absolutely crucial. From the opening games, this matchup is likely to be about control versus creativity. Gauff thrives when she can establish patterns, using her speed to extend rallies and waiting for the right moment to strike. She's patient, but she's not passive anymore, and that distinction matters. Denilovic, on the other hand, will want to break those patterns as early as possible. She'll try to shorten points, pull Gauff wide with her lefty angles, and test whether Gauff is willing to take the initiative under pressure. The first set could be especially telling. If Gauff settles quickly, the match could tilt heavily in her favor. But if Denilovic manages to disrupt her rhythm early, confidence could swing, and suddenly the contest becomes far more unpredictable. Physically, Gauff holds a clear advantage. Her endurance, recovery between points, and ability to maintain intensity over long stretches give her an edge in Melbourne's demanding conditions. Denilovic will likely aim to avoid extended rallies, knowing that over time, Gauff's consistency and athleticism could wear her down. The serve will also play a major role. Gauff's improved serving accuracy and placement have helped her earn free points, something she lacked earlier in her career. If she serves well, Danilovic's chances shrink dramatically. However, if Gauff's first serve percentage dips, Denilovic has the firepower to attack second serves aggressively. Mentally, this is where the match may truly be decided. Gauff has grown visibly stronger in managing expectations and momentum shifts. She's learned how to reset after losing a tight game or a frustrating point. Denilovic, meanwhile, can sometimes ride emotional waves, playing brilliantly for stretches before losing focus. If she can stay composed and trust her game plan, she has the tools to make this interesting. But against a player as disciplined as Gauff, lapses in concentration are often punished immediately. Our prediction for this matchup leans toward Coco Gauff, not because Denilovic lacks quality, but because Gauff's overall balance, maturity, and adaptability give her more ways to win. Expect moments where Denilovic shines and forces Gauff into uncomfortable positions, but over the course of the match, Gauff's consistency and defensive skills should prevail. A straight sets win is possible, but don't be surprised if there are tight games and momentum swings that test Gauff's patience before she closes it out. Beyond the Gauff-Danilovic clash, Australian Open Day 4 offers a packed schedule filled with intriguing women's matches that could reshape the tournament narrative. Several seeded players are stepping onto the court knowing that early round upsets are no longer shocking exceptions, but recurring themes. The women's game is deeper than ever, and that depth creates constant tension. One slow start, one off day, and even the most accomplished names can find themselves fighting for survival. We're also seeing younger players embracing the moment with fearless energy. For them, the pressure often feels lighter. They're not defending titles, not protecting legacies, just swinging freely and believing they belong. That belief can be dangerous for more established players who may carry the invisible weight of expectation. Day 4 is where that contrast becomes especially clear, with hunger clashing against experience across multiple courts. The conditions in Melbourne continue to challenge everyone equally. The heat, the pace of the courts, and the atmosphere created by fans who are hungry for long rallies and dramatic finishes all add layers to each match. Players who can manage their energy, choose the right moments to attack, and stay emotionally steady are the ones most likely to advance comfortably. Those who panic or rush often find themselves making unforced errors at the worst possible times. As we look ahead, Day 4 feels like a checkpoint in the tournament. It's the day when contenders begin to separate themselves from hopefuls. Wins start to feel earned rather than expected, and the road ahead becomes clearer for those who survive. For Coco Gauff, this is another step in a journey that many believe could end with her lifting the trophy. For Olga Danilovic, it's an opportunity to remind the tennis world that she belongs on this stage, and that she can challenge the very best when she plays with belief and freedom. No matter how the results fall, one thing is certain. The women's draw at the Australian Open continues to deliver compelling tennis, emotional storylines, and moments that stay with fans long after the final point is played. Day 4 promises intensity, surprises, and performances that could define the rest of the tournament. As always, we'll be watching closely, breaking down the biggest moments, and bringing you every major update as the action unfolds here in Melbourne. Stay tuned, stay passionate about the game, and keep it locked right here on Trending Update USA. I'm Steffan, and this has been your in-depth look at Australian Open Day 4 women's predictions, including the highly anticipated showdown between Coco Gauff and Olga Danilovic.